Ladies and gentlemen, slimes and dimes, my hip-hop crimies and crimettes, welcome back to the couch. It is your boy Bito. We are back here chilling for another reaction. And this is a relaxing Sunday today, dog. So I've been just listening to people talk today. And today, you know, this is more Diddy dirt. I've been staying away from a lot of Diddy dirt because unlike a lot of other channels, man, some of it's real nasty work, dog. And like, I like to cover things with a little bit of integrity. Like, I do have my conspiracies. I do have my opinions on stuff. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe if you already haven't. But if I'm going to cover something, dog, like, I like my sources to be somewhat credible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to really cover every walking, talking conspiracy or every random thing that we know isn't accurate, but just because we want to click on it. I'm just not going to. When it comes to the Diddy dirt, I'm not, especially because I feel like the people that I do watch cover that stuff, I feel like they either haven't, that like they must be under 30 for one, or they just love the gossip, or two, it's just like you're just trying to get the clicks. And like, once again, I mean, we all make the videos for that, but at the same time, just like, dog, like, where's the integrity at, dog? Like, so with that being said, before I rant into that, man, we're hopping into Toure, who's been a very credible source to a lot of industry wild things that's happened. And he's had his rants, or not rants, but he's had his time talking about certain things that have gone on with Diddy, which I will take his word with certain things. And, you know, Jaguar White too, even though she says a lot of wild shit, there's always some truth behind whatever she is bringing up, even if some of her allegations and certain things are very extreme. You know what I'm saying? But this is where I leave it at that, because most people, once again, will take everything that these people are saying and be like, it's all factual. I like to have an objective and biased like thought process or opinion on it, so I tend not to try to believe everything, but like, it makes me raise eyebrows. So we're hopping into Toure. Diddy was a one-man crime wave, part one, as he sits down with Vlad, the culture vulture, from what people say on across the board. I mean, I feel like Vlad's been around for quite some time, where he wasn't in fact that, and a lot of people were supportive of it. I can't condone a lot of things that he does in recent time, and I think that's just what happens when people kind of get too comfortable within the culture. But I wouldn't say that he's a culture vulture versus I feel like a lot of people that have been saying that have been more or less like the younger generation that don't really remember Vlad from like when he used to be in like the smack, like all the other DVDs and just be around. So like, to say that he's not a part of culture now, I just always found that weird. We can say that he's too comfortable and says wild shit. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, Toure, one-man crime wave. Or sorry, Toure Diddy was a one-man crime wave.
All right, here we go. Toure, welcome back to Vlad TV.
Thanks, buddy.
Toure!
I think this is our third time doing this.
I think it is. I think it is. But, you know, we've been in contact the whole time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I just mean like doing one of these Vlad sit-downs.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But, you know, like I remember when I was going through some things, you reached out and, you know, you helped counsel me through a few little roadblocks that I was dealing with. And, you know, we're not going to say for what exactly, but
I respect that you were willing to listen.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just human nature that if you have an idea, you stick with that idea. And new information does not make you change. It makes you drill down more into your idea.
Yeah.
And that you were, like, willing to listen and, like, enter the conversation in one place and truly hear and be moved to a different place, a different perspective. It was like, okay, well, that was cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't usually have that conversation where you like talk to somebody and you like, you're looking at it this way, you should look at it differently, and they go, oh yeah, you're right.
Well, I see where it comes from. If it's somebody that I know and I respect, and I know there's no ulterior motives,
Sure.
in the conversation, that I'm willing to listen. And I try to avoid cognitive dissonance, where I get new information and then I try to work my original idea around that new information, you know?
Which is natural.
Yeah,
It's natural.
yeah, but I try to avoid doing that. So if I get new information, it does make sense, I try to internalize it. And when I'm wrong, I try to, you know, accept the fact that I'm wrong. And if I have to publicly address that, then I try to publicly address it.
Vlad better not.
You know, not everyone's always going to be happy with the way I address it, and that's okay. I'm not here to please everyone. You know, I'm here to make sure that I could live with certain things myself. And if it feels a little off, then I'll address it. If I can live with it and it doesn't feel off, then I'll rock with it. And whoever feels a type of way will feel a type of way regardless.
For sure.
Yeah. There's a lot going on right now. Well, first of all, Big Meech is out.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah, from BMF.
Good.
Yeah.
Torre's like, okay.
No interactions with him, I assume, over the years.
No, I've never interacted with him. I watched the show about them, but I don't really know anything about him.
My man said,
Yeah,
okay.
I had a very brief interaction with him.
That's that.
But, I did.
See, that's one of those moments where, like, it goes into, I guess, Vlad's a culture push because, like, all right, I understand. He's a hip-hop journalist. He's a journalist. He's been around. He's in the scene. But not every black person really cared that Big Meech is out. That's kind of like what I get from Toure's response right there. He said, okay.
Interview a lot of BMF people.
Yeah.
Along the way, from like J-Bo to
like,
Da Vinci
okay, bro.
back in the day to a bunch of other guys. So yeah, it's about to be crazy, especially with the show being what it is.
Okay.
But here's something you do know about.
It's like, okay, nigga.
Diddy.
For sure.
Yes. Diddy is currently facing life in prison. He's charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping. He, of course, has pleaded not guilty. What is surprising is that he didn't get bail. He didn't get a bond. Does that surprise you at all?
It didn't surprise me that he did not get
really.
bail because he has
charged
been
with, dog. What's going on? He's a
actively
billionaire, too.
tampering with witnesses, actively
Tampering
reaching
with
out
witnesses,
to witnesses,
bruh.
and
You can't let that
presumably
man go.
threatening them or asking them or bribing them to not. And I think the government
All that comes so close
rightly
now.
felt like this is a huge flight risk.
Flight risk.
For given what he's facing and the amount of money he has, despite the
Do
recognizance,
the Russell Simmons.
might he try to get on a plane or a submarine or something? I mean, like,
Tunnel?
Submarine.
I mean, if you're facing life in prison, like,
First ounce of free, you might start thinking about some stuff.
and you have a ton of money,
Might be like, yo, I might be out.
how could you not? How could you not want to abscond?
Look, I've been saying this for months.
I need that.
If
I like that word, abscond.
was Diddy and
like
I
that
knew
word.
something like this was coming down the line, I would go buy a round trip ticket to Russia and not use the return ticket.
Well,
I would just
I
stay
think
there.
part of the story is that he clearly did not judge the situation as it was coming to him. The game was going in a certain direction, and for various reasons, he could not see where it was going. I think almost anyone would see
Those drugs,
Cassie is privately making a lot of noise between my lawyer and her lawyer, right? And this is she's alleging a lot of things. She's asking for a lot of money in the real world, but not a lot of money to me, right? $30 million is not a ton to Puff. It's a ton to 99% of the population, but not to him.
30 million cash is a ton even to Puff.
It clearly was not a problem,
No,
right?
listen.
If you're gonna pay it,
30 million
real
is
fast.
a lot.
if you're gonna pay it the day after it becomes known, you should have paid it yesterday.
Not a lot to you.
Well,
You had the money,
well, he did have the money, yes.
and you could have staved off all of this. You could have changed the whole trajectory.
Correct.
Of just getting rid of the lawsuit. I'm not saying that justice is being served in the situation, but the way that the game was going, lots of people had things that they wanted to say about Puffy but were afraid to say them. Cassie was showing courage, but she was like, I will go away for $30 million. I think 99% of us would see, I got $1 billion, let me just pay her and keep it quiet. But I think there's two big things that are sort of explain why not. This is a person who'd been surrounded by enablers for a long time, so nobody around him is giving him a critical eye to say, like, no, we shouldn't do that. He's dealing with at least 15 years of drug abuse, so he's not thinking clearly at
Consistent
all.
with that.
But I think there's also
very
a
consistent with that.
long-term sense of invincibility and let's call it leader privilege. He's been the boss of every situation he's been in since his early 20s.
For 20 plus years.
Where you are basically living like a king, where everybody who interacts with you relies on you for their employment. And people who were around him for a long time talked about, they noticed that the inner circle had gone from people who might say, hey, I'm not sure that's the way we should do things. Maybe we should try something else. I have different ideas, to yes men and women. So,
oh, wow.
And that goes down to even like your attorneys, right? So you have attorneys who are not saying, hey, we should just pay this. Like the balance, the math is just pay it. And if he pays Cassie and her thing never becomes loud, many of the other people remain, it's too hard for them to come forward. And the whole story goes differently. And, you know, I think there's a lot of people who love to involve the Illuminati or the specter of the Illuminati as a way of understanding these stories.
Right.
And there's this thing going around about how this is really about Puff standing up to Diageo,
right,
or
which is ridiculous.
Ciroc standing up to Diageo.
Yeah.
So
it's completely ridiculous. Puff does not own Ciroc.
Yeah.
Right? But also,
that's just I always feel like that theory is just like within the community theory, you know what I'm saying? Every time something happens to like a popular figure, it's like, nah, man, he tried to buy Viacom, he tried to buy Sony. I think the only person that really kind of only did that on record, not on record, but the only person to successfully do that was Michael Jackson, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I just feel like that's just a theory that us black folks like to run to, or the community, whatever you want to say, you know what I'm saying, likes to run to when they ain't got the answers, or when they hear dudes like Dr. Umar say wild shit like that too. So that's just my personal opinion on it. So I think it's ridiculous as well. A highly educated brother on Vlad apparently thinks so too. So clearly we're not far off with this, right?
This isn't about some wealthy liquor person made a call to somebody in the DOJ. No,
like, yo,
Cassie's lawsuit was written about in detail in the New York Times and every other newspaper that matters. And you don't think that people at the DOJ were like, did you see this story?
Like, let's investigate
oh my
this.
God, I just read 5 serious crimes in the first paragraph. Like
that is true. There's a lot of crimes,
Jack,
in that lawsuit.
I want you to dive into this story, see what's there.
Yeah.
And this is a potentially career-making moment for Jack at the DOJ.
100%.
This is about Cassie being heard from the law offices of Sean Combs to the DOJ, right? And you know, it's interesting how these things sort of loop together. It was explained to me that in Kim Porter passing, Puff was so distraught that he was distracted from every other part of his life. And because of that, Cassie was able to get away from him and fairly quickly get into a very serious, committed relationship and become pregnant and start planning a wedding. So now she is off on a whole other life. She goes to rehab, she goes to therapy, she finds the courage to say what she really believes. And she is encouraged to speak out, because so many therapists are like, you know, say your truth, right? Own your truth. Then she's like, I'm going to write a book and tell everything you did. And her speaking out then too? Breaks the dam. And
oh man,
the amount of stories that we have heard about Puff
over the years is crazy.
Is absolutely insane. You start to wonder, how could he have had enough time in the day
to do music or
to
movies?
Be constantly
he's the Joker. He's the
running
villain.
around, mistreating people, plus making music, plus, I mean, I don't. it does seem like a one-man crime wave.
Wow. So that's the Vlad's sick, dog. Well, on that note, I was gonna say the title was very misleading, but I guess he closed off with the title there at the end. But Vlad does a great job on putting out those little 14, 15-minute clips on just misleading me again. But at least he talked about Diddy. We all. Wow. My bad, y'all. We all know what Diddy's been up, or we all have heard what Diddy's been up to over the last, decade and longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been around so long that you've heard many different stories of Diddy through each decade of hip hop. Each one getting more and more, egregious, to be honest. From linking him to Pac stuff, linking him to Big, Cassie. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Might be time to just call it a wraps. But, it's clear and obvious what Diddy's been up to, man. And, the walls are crashing down on him. You have guys like Toure speaking out, which I don't think I've seen Toure this actively speaking out against Diddy until the last few weeks, which tell me, too, that this is a lot of people's time to shine right now, whether it's for positive press, negative press, whether it's true or not. A lot of people are actually speaking out. And it's for us to really have, brain power to, decipher whether or not these people are telling the truth or reach or whatever, because not every story is true, and that's where I go back to what I said in the beginning. Don't forget to like the video as well, too. Comment, subscribe if you haven't. Like I said in the beginning, covering this Diddy stuff, it's real selective now. If I ain't hearing it from, credible sources, dog, I'm probably not going to really be speaking on it too much, because that's where it gets murky, and, I am for the gossip, and I am for all of that, but, a lot of people out here speaking of it as it's the word of the gospel and really spreading nasty rhetoric which throws other people's names into it. It's I'd rather just slow down before I start. I have my assumptions too. I have my theories, but I don't think I can just spew them off because, Joe Smo is just, making a conspiracy theory and then I'm going to react to it that way and say yes, what he's speaking is fact, because he don't know just as much as I don't know. So, I just like to get it from somewhat credible people that are just in the industry. That's just my thing. But that's no knock to anybody that's out there doing that either. That's just one of those things that I ain't gonna do it because it's not a part of my DNA. But if I see something like this or things that are coming from the horse's mouths, oh yeah, we own it. If it's coming from CNN, news outlets, certain credible things, or if I read it myself and I can see that what they talking about is true, yeah, I'm on it. But other than that, we here for the music and good time too. But that's hip hop related news. Diddy's been a part of hip hop for over half of its lifespan, which is insane to think about. And I've always will scream that every time I do cover something Diddy wise, because it's only 50 years old, and Diddy's been a part of it for 30 years, which is nuts. So let me know in the comments below how y'all feel. Don't forget to like the video. Give me some hip hop news that you may want me to react to or anything too. We throw that in here in this channel too, man. I know I do a lot of music reactions. I do basketball reactions, sports reactions. The green is raising the banner Tuesday night, y'all. The green is raising the banner. So we're gonna be greened out the first month of October. I apologize in advance for those of y'all that might not like the Celtics, but if y'all love the Celtics, get ready. October's about to be fun when it comes to that. Well, we're already in October, so going into November, that's going to get real fun because it's road to banner 19 time. And who to enjoy that with than your boy BITO'S. So on that note, we out of here. Peace.